Again, welcome to Jane Addams College of Social Work. Joining me on the webinar are Pearl Natali. She's the office manager for Jane Addams College of Social Work in the Office of Academic Affairs and Student Services. Also, Pamela Brown, the Director of Field Instruction, and Leslie Graham, who is the Records and Admissions and Records Supervisor for Jane Addams College of Social Work, also in the Office of Academic Affairs and Student Services. They will be responding to some of your comments and questions in the chat, and Ms. Brown will be doing part of the presentation as well. So let's get started. You're seeking to enter the profession of social work during a time of tremendous upheaval in our world and around our country. We're attempting to emerge from our current COVID-19 pandemic, and we're being reminded daily of the health, social, and racial justice crises engulfing our country and our world. And each of these represent issues that you'll now encounter through a different lens as you prepare to learn the skills of a social worker. As a college, we look forward to increasing your knowledge base while also learning from you, and there's much work to be done. This webinar, as I said, is recorded so that you can come back to it as you need to. We will also have a Q&A time at the end of our presentation so that we can answer any follow-up questions that you may have. And you're also always welcome to email your questions. We'll have an FAQ to accompany the webinar that we'll be posting, and we'll also provide you important email addresses at the end of this webinar. So in addition to welcoming you to the college, the purpose is to provide you with information that will be useful before the start of the academic year regarding the curriculum. We'll also cover registration issues and the importance of your UIC email and some of the resources that are available to you here at the college and on the campus. We're excited to be part of this journey with you in becoming a social worker, and we're looking forward to having you with us in the fall. As I mentioned, we'll have a Q&A at the end, so we'll ask you to type your questions into the chat. If there are questions that you have immediately or that need immediate attention, type those in the chat, and we will try to get to those along the way. So let's start with an overview of the curriculum. The MSW curriculum is comprised of generalist and specialization social work courses. The generalist coursework includes a focus on social work practice, social welfare policy, human behavior in the social environment, social work research, and field education. These generalist curriculum content areas work together to prepare students to use a planned change problem-solving process and to work with a variety of client systems such as individuals, families, groups, organizations, and communities. They also work to help you apply various theoretical perspectives and to use a range of skills, all grounded in social work values and ethics. As PM Extended Study students, you'll complete the generalist curriculum over a two-year period of time. And as a PM Extended Study student, your class is divided into cohorts. So this means that we pre-assign you to specific sections for each of your required courses. And it also means that you'll remain with that same group of students in all of your required courses for the first 2 years of your MSW program. So let's take a look at that required plan of study. It's important to note that our program is highly structured, and it's important for you to take the required courses in the sequence outlined in our required plans of study in order to complete the program within the time frame designated. And for you, that means over a 3-year period of time. You'll note in the required plan of study that you take 2 classroom-based courses each semester for the first 2 years. And these courses are scheduled during the evening hours between 5:30 and 8:20 p.m. All of our classes are in person and face-to-face. The generalist coursework is followed by coursework in an area of specialized practice in your final year of study. I'm not going to take much time to go over that now, but I do want to let you know that our specializations are, and you'll choose one of the 5 specializations: child and family, mental health, organization and community practice, school social work, and social work within the justice systems. You'll receive more information about the specializations and the process for selecting your specialization in the fall and spring of your second year of the program. I apologize for the delay. I need to pause just a minute to make a setting adjustment. So I'm going to just go off mic and see if I can make that change. My apologies, but at this point I am unable to enable captioning. I'm going to continue to work to do that. It's telling me that closed captioning is not available at this point in time. So if you would contact our office, and I will make sure that you get a complete transcript of the webinar. My apologies. So let's continue. Our next slide addresses field education. And at this time, I'll ask Pamela Brown if she would join our webinar and cover a bit of information about field education.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. So I am going to switch gears for a moment just to discuss field education. I'm Pamela Brown. I'm the Director of Field Instruction at Jane Addams College of Social Work. And you might be asking yourself, what exactly is field education? When you apply to our college, you may have seen that you will be required as a social student to complete 2 field placements. The goals of field education are threefold. By field education, we are hoping to provide an opportunity for students to develop as professionals in the field of social work. We also hope to provide students with an opportunity to apply the theories and concepts that you learn in the classroom to practice situations. In field, we also want you to develop a professional identity consistent with social work values and ethics, our code of ethics, because it defines the principles and standards of everyday social workers. So we are preparing you in school to become a social work professional. And every student who gets a graduate degree from an accredited institution has to do field placements. That's decided by our governing body, the Council of Social Work Education. To give you a little information about what that looks like in terms of your coursework, for students who are in the PM Extended Study Program, completing your foundation curriculum takes 2 years. Your classes are scheduled on Monday and Wednesdays in the evening time slots between 5:30 and 8:20 over the first 2 years. You will not immediately begin field education. So I'm not going to go into significant detail, but I do want to give you a little bit of information so you can start thinking about preparing for it now. So the requirements for field education in terms of hours, the generalist field placement, which is your first field placement, requires that you do a field placement 450 hours. And that way that breaks down over the course of 2 semesters is 15 hours per week, 15 to 16 hours. We ask the students do those in blocks of time. So you should be at your field placement for no fewer than 5 hours at a time, because you're not getting a rich learning experience if you're trying to do 2 hours here and 2 hours there and 2 hours here. So you'll need to look at your schedule and try to work around a schedule that would allow you to be in field placement for 15 to 16 hours a week in 5-hour blocks. The second the second field placement, which is your specialization field placement, requires more hours. It requires 630 hours in total, which works out to be anywhere between 21 to 24 hours, actually closer to 21 per week. You will work with a field liaison for both the first and second year field placement to help you find a field placement. And so that is the way it'll look once you get into field placement in terms of the hourly requirements. Thank you. Hello, Dean Bonecutter.
So we're going to change now to communication. Each of you will have your UIC email address. And by now you've probably received email messages to that email address from the university. As of now, the college is using the personal email address that we have on file for you. And so you'll see email from the Office of Academic Affairs and Student Services with the subject heading Jane Mail. But no later than August 1st, after we've confirmed that all students have registered, the college will send email only to your UIC email account. And while it's possible to do so, please refrain from forwarding your UIC email to your personal email account. Personal email accounts often filter UIC email into spam because it may appear as unwanted mass email. Okay. Many students who've set up their university accounts to forward to their personal email account will fail to receive UIC email, critical UIC email, and we don't want you to miss any critical deadlines or miss out on a scholarship or other special opportunity because it went into your spam and you never saw it. The university and the college do send a significant amount of email, and you'd be tempted to delete it without reading it. But I encourage you to resist that temptation. Just a couple of examples of what's happened or what can happen when you miss or fail to read your university email. We had a situation where a student missed a deadline for opting out of campus care, which is the university's student health insurance, because their email reminders went into spam and they never saw them. And this kind of mistake resulted in their being billed hundreds of dollars for healthcare coverage that they didn't need because they were already covered. And they should have opted out of the campus care. When it was time to file for the UIC required intent to graduate form, a student deleted that email and failed to submit the form and was unable to graduate in May as planned. They had to wait until the August graduation date to graduate, and that impacted their job prospects. So it is important for you to pay attention to all email that comes to your UIC email account and to read it carefully. The other important point to note is to pay attention to whether there's a particular person to respond to or to contact. Do not use the reply or reply all button, and that can cause a bounce back, your reply not having been received, or it could result in many people reading content not meant for them. So you're responsible for reading your email, and it's our primary way of communicating with you. And I want to thank Dr. McKay Jackson for responding to some of the emails as well. Okay, let's turn to registration. You will each receive a document that includes information regarding which cohort you've been assigned to and relatedly which course sections to register for. The information that you're looking for is which cohort you're assigned to. That could be cohort E, F, or G. Once you identify that information, you want to refer to the provided document to determine which courses and sections you should register for. In this example, we're showing cohort assignments PMA or PMB. So please note that you register for the classes that you've been assigned to. And if you register for an incorrect section, your registration may be canceled or you'll need to re-register for the correct section. Remember, you are assigned to a cohort. You'll remain with that cohort for the first 2 years of your program. So for fall, you'll register for your cohort class assignments, and in the spring, you'll register for that same cohort class assignments, different classes in the spring, but the same cohort. You should also have received a link, the link that you need to activate your UIC NetID and password and to register for your classes on the my.uic.edu portal. Okay, here's a slide for the fall 2023 semester calendar, and some important dates to remember are that classes begin on Monday, August 21st, and your required classes are on Monday and Wednesdays, Monday and Wednesday evenings. During the first 2 weeks of the semester, if you've made any errors in your course registration, you can make those changes to drop and add classes during the first 2 weeks of classes. The last day to drop a class without financial penalty is September 3rd. And while we fully expect that you'll complete all the courses that you've registered for, pay attention to the last date to drop a course and receive a grade of W, which occurs in October. So you'll see that on the university website. The university sends out reminders about that as well. So keep in mind, though, that because of the tightly sequenced nature of our curriculum, dropping a required course will delay your program completion by a year in most cases. Okay. Thanksgiving is both a Thursday and Friday, and our fall semester ends December 1st, with exam week being December 4th through the 8th. Okay, advising. You'll be assigned an academic advisor in the fall and just right ahead of the start of classes. So it's a good idea to reach out to that advisor to get acquainted after the start of the academic year. This office serves to advise all students during the summer. So if you have questions during the summer, you can email jacswoss@uic.edu, and we'll give you that email address again at the end of this presentation. And someone from this office will contact you to discuss what your concerns are and answer your questions. As you move through the program, you'll use the MSW Student Handbook and your academic advisor. The handbook has lots of important information and useful information about the campus resources that are available to support you. And you can also reach out to your academic advisor to discuss your career interests, course selection, particularly of elective options, and to talk with them further about selecting specializations when that time comes around. There are additional resources and information available to you on our college website, and I encourage you to take some time to visit the website, and especially under current students, information for current students. But I'll highlight just a bit more information for you that will be useful before the start of the academic year. Students who'd like to use a name other than their legal first name are able to enter a preferred first name and update an existing preferred first name, or to delete an existing preferred first name through the student self-service found at the my.uic.edu portal. You'll want to review the university policy for acceptable uses of preferred first name. And once you enter or update a preferred first name, you want to do that at least 2 weeks before the start of the semester. If you do that after the start of the semester, or in that time frame close to the start of the semester, that name update, preferred first name update, won't necessarily be replicated in some of the systems, and so the name that we have on record for you is there. So you'll want to check that prior to 2 weeks before the start of the semester. The college uses Blackboard for all classes. Blackboard is a learning management system where you'll access all of your syllabi and related course materials. Once you register for your courses, you're automatically enrolled in the instructor's Blackboard course site. And while some instructors may open and invite you to access the content in the course site earlier, all course sites and syllabi will be available to you in the week before classes start. So if you go to the Blackboard website now, you won't be able to see the course site that you're enrolled in. It'll only show once the course site is activated. Okay. Once you register, you should also be able to view the books that are required for your courses on the UIC Bookstore website. Now, there will be multiple sections of each of your required courses, so be sure to select the course CRN that you are registered for. Most, but not all, of the courses and required books are at the bookstore website. But most, but not all, of the courses and required books are on the bookstore's website, but they should be there by the end of July. They may not all show now, but should show by the end of July. And while the books will be available at the bookstore, you're not obligated to purchase them from the UIC bookstore. You're free to obtain them from whatever source you choose. The additional required reading for your courses should also be available within your instructor's Blackboard course site or through the UIC Library electronic resources. You'll go to the Student Center East ID Center to obtain your UIC ID. If you need any adjustments or if you have questions about that, please go to the UIC Student Center East ID Center or to the ID Center website. Campus care. The university requires all students to be covered by health insurance, and if you're not covered, UIC provides the Campus Care Student Health Benefit Program. Students with comparable health insurance can waive out by submitting an online form before the enrollment deadline. And that deadline is going to be in September. The university sends out lots of reminders about that. And we will also, the college will also send out reminders about that. The detailed information and the opt-out form is on the Campus Care website. So you'll want to be sure to go to that website, review all of the benefits and enrollment opt-out policies and what those current fees are. Now on this slide, we have the information for last academic year, but the Campus Care website does have the current and upcoming academic year information. Under UIC policy, any student needing to request accommodations for a disability should contact the Disability Resource Center, and the information is on this slide. You'll go to uic.edu/DRC, and you'll be able, or to drc.uic.edu for all of the information for accessing a counselor there and what the process and procedures are for registering and getting accommodations. So if you are in need of accommodations or have a question about that, please go to the drc.uic.edu website. Another important resource for all students is the college website. You can find the MSW Student Handbook, which includes detailed information about the college policies and procedures. You can look up your professors, learn more about the engagement of the college in the community, the type of research being conducted, and many other important pieces of information. Over the summer, the website will continue to be updated, and the MSW Student Handbook for the coming academic year will be posted on that website as well. I encourage you to contact the UIC Office of Student Financial Aid for any questions related to your financial aid situation. That office is located in the Student Services Building at 1200 West Harrison in room 1800. In some cases, you may need also to contact our college financial aid office, so you can reach Ms. Maribel Flores, our Assistant Dean for Admissions and Financial Aid, at mfloor6@uic.edu. Or you can contact her assistant, John, at juth@uic.edu. Just a reminder, the Jane Addams Hull House Museum is located on our campus, and it's a great place to visit. You can go to their website to see what are some of the current exhibits there, or to take a tour. And please save the date for an on-campus new student welcome and orientation event scheduled for August 17th from 1:30 to 4 p.m. During that time, you'll have the opportunity to learn more about the college, university supports, and opportunities for you to be involved in the college and the larger UIC community. So thanks for taking the time to join us. And here are some important emails, and the best way to contact us at JACSWOSS, or you can contact Leslie Graham, our records supervisor, or Pearl Natali, office manager. Okay. So we are turning to our Q&A, and I see that there are quite a few questions already posted in the chat and some questions that have been responded to, I'm going to ask, and I'm going to see if I can have Ms. Pearl Natali read off any questions and see if we can respond to them. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to try to have Pearl unmute, and might not be able to do that. So okay, let me try to. Pamela, would you be able to read off any of the questions that might need further response?
Sure, I should be able to do that. I need to go back up through the chat and see. I know there was a question from Sophie that was going to be answered later. So, question read, if I've added a gender and women's studies certificate, will I be able to use those classes as my electives built into the MSW, or will I have to have additional classes each semester?
There are particular courses in the gender and women's studies concentration that you can take, and those courses will indeed serve as electives. But it's also important to work with an advisor here at the college and in the gender and women's studies program. So yes, follow up with this office about doing that. But you can select electives in gender and women's studies, and those will serve for electives here at the college.
Another question we have is, are we able to see already?
Can you repeat the question?
Is it possible to get our UIC ID right now?
I believe so. The office is open, so you can either call or email them, but go to the website first, and there may be some additional information about how you can get that UIC ID.
Okay. Someone asked this question, may have been asked already, but how do we learn which cohort we are assigned to?
That information was emailed to you along with the link to join this webinar. So it shows your cohort and then the courses you should register for. If there's any confusion about that, email Miss Leslie Graham, and she can give that information to you.
Mm-hmm. One student had a question, how can I access my Ventra?
Ventra?
Mm-hmm.
You can contact the UPass office. So go to the university's website and type into the search bar UPass, and from their website, then they'll give you information about eligibility and accessing the UPass.
Okay. Another student wants to know, if I had a minor in social work for my undergrad, do those credits apply towards my MSW? Some of those courses are the generalist courses for the first 2 years, it looks like.
I'm going to ask if you will contact our office directly, and I'm going to put my email in so that we can take a look at that. If you have courses that are equivalent social work courses from an accredited social work program, then those may be reviewed for transfer, but we need to take a careful look at that.
Okay. Another question that came in was, do evening classes um, go for the entire 5:30 to 8:20 time?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Another student asked, is it possible to switch from the PM extended program to the full-time program, or would that require reapplying?
Unfortunately, it's not possible to make a change of program option at this time. Uh, our all of the sections are at capacity.
How do you sign up for the certifications?
Certification. Can you tell me what you, I see the question there. Are you talking about the gender and women's studies? Is because I think the person who mentioned that it's actually a concentration, it's not a certification, but I'm not sure if that's what you're asking. Yes, okay.
While that person
Yes,
clarifies,
now I
I'll move
see
to
it.
the, oh,
Okay, these are gender and women's studies, violence. Those are called concentrations, and um, it would be a good idea to make an appointment with an advisor or here in this office, Academic Affairs and Student Services, so we can go over what that entails. Uh, so I typed my email in, faithjb@uic.edu. So contact the office, make an appointment, and we can talk about that further. For those concentrations, some of them require um, more than 2 additional courses or 2 courses that serve as electives. And the scheduling of those is sometimes tricky. So it's important to take a look at what those are and map out a plan. So contact the office and I'll talk with you further about that.
okay. Molly asks, is field instruction, excuse me, similar to an internship? Are we assigned to work placement sites or do we get to pick? So I can answer that question for you, Molly. And you'll hear the terms field instruction, field placement, and internship used interchangeably. So yes, those are the same things. As far as are you assigned, you're not assigned. You work with a liaison. For your generalist placement, it is more directive, where the field liaison will give you specific options after having a conversation with you. And then in your specialization field placement, you'll have a little more autonomy to look through a list and select 3 that you are interested in applying to. Candice asks, what does advanced standing mean?
Advanced standing is for students who have completed a Bachelor of Social Work degree from an accredited uh, social work program. So in that bachelor's program, they've completed all of the first year social work, first year of the MSW social work program requirements, and they move directly into their specialization year. That's advanced standing.
And I think we answered the question about the UIC email. I'm not sure if that question was answered. How do we find out what our UIC email is?
When you applied and were admitted, then the university has the UIC email account for you, but you do have to activate it. And I believe we sent the link for you to, activate your net ID. Usually the university sends that when you're admitted to activate your university email account. Let me see if we can send that link again. And Gabriella says yes, please. Okay. So let's see if we can send that link again. So I would ask if Pearl could put that link in the chat, and we'll also make sure that it's available on the website under our FAQs. But we can send that out to you just to make sure that you have that.
Are the only two classes we should be registering for the two that were sent in the email with our cohort assignment?
That is correct. As a PM Extended Studies student, you take 2 courses per semester over these over the first 2 years, and that completes your first year of the program. And in your third year, you take your specialization courses. In the second year of this PM program, you would be able to add in the electives along with your required practice course. So what we've sent to you is what you are required to register for this semester.
And I'm only going to this particular question because it's related to the last one. I will come back to the other ones. I'm not skipping over Erica and Gabriella. But there was another question related to that says, I'm already enrolled in my assigned cohort classes. Can I add electives, and can these be online classes?
Typically, PM students just take the 2 courses. If you choose to add an elective, then you would need to do that with advisor approval. So that approval would come from our Office of Academic Affairs and Student Services. And so we can, we ask that you contact this office to discuss that. Okay. Online courses can serve as electives, but all electives need to be approved.
Okay. Back to the other questions. Gabriella asked, will the slideshow be emailed to the students?
We'll send a link to the recording, and we will post the slides on our website.
Okay. And Erica asked, how do we know when assistantships become available?
Well, the college does not typically provide assistantships at the MSW level. There may be assistantships available at the campus level, but those are department by department, and we don't manage that. So you could contact a different department or college to see, if they have assistantships available.
Okay. Molly asked, can we switch our specializations, or do we need to keep the one we already selected?
No, you are not obligated to keep the one that you've selected. You'll select the specialization during the spring semester of your second year in the program. You'll have much more information and you'll be more informed about the specializations and you select at that time. So if you gave some indication of a specialization when you applied, you are not held to that.
Okay. And Gabriella asked, Selena asked, what if we already have a UIC email but receive emails only in our personal email? How do I change emails?
As I indicated right now, we have been sending to your personal email account. After August 1st, we will only use your UIC email account. And the university should be if the university is sending you any email, they should be sending it, or typically they send it to your UIC email account.
Okay. And final question in the chat is Jamie, and that is, what's the email for the academic office to get approval for electives?
On this final slide, it says jacswoss@uic.edu. You can contact that office or that email to request an appointment, and then an appointment will be set up to talk with you about electives.
Okay. And I just wanted clarification. She said that some of the courses said on campus or remote, and she was assuming that might have been entered incorrectly. I just confirmed to her that all of our courses are on campus. There are no remote courses.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, all classes are on campus in person. We do not have remote education.
Molly asks, where can I find more info about the full-time final year?
On the slide, it describes what the courses are, and the final year are courses in specialization, and so those courses, practice and policy, practice 3, policy 2, research 2, and practice 4, and then field instruction, those will be within your specialization. It's always a good idea to think ahead. If you wanted to have some to discuss more, again, contact the office. We can set an appointment. That could be by phone or in person, and you can ask your questions then. But the full-time year will require, for students in the PM program, 2 specialization courses. Those again are in person on campus, and your field placement, which will be not a classroom based course, but in the field. And if you wish to take additional electives, you can. But the way the program plan for the PM program is structured, you will have taken required electives. 2 electives are required. You will have taken them prior to that final year. But feel free to contact us to set up time to talk further if you do have additional questions about that final year.
Okay, and Sarita, I think you logged off when we answered the question about accessing Ventra previously.
I see it.
And
It's important for you to contact the UPass office directly. Their policies have changed. Previously, the Ventra UPass was available only to students with full-time enrollment. The enrollment for the PM program is in the first 2 years. Well, in the first year is 6 credit hours. That's 2 courses, and that's not enough to qualify for the UPass. However, the university has done some adjusting to that policy. Whether that and with that, students in our part-time students were made eligible for the Ventra UPass, but I don't know how long that policy is in effect, which is why I say go directly to the UPass website for any information about that. Okay, I think we are winding down on questions. So what I would like to do at this point is bring our webinar to a close. And as I mentioned, we will be sending you a link to the recording. We'll post the slides on the college website, and we'll go through the chat again and try to make sure that we've covered the questions that were asked in the chat, and then add anything else that we may have missed. and send that information out to you by email. Do feel free to give us a call or send us an email with any further questions, and we can make time available by phone or a Zoom call, or if you're on campus, we could make time to see you here at the office as well. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we are looking forward to seeing you in the fall. Okay.
Thank you.
And as was requested, we will also send out the transcript so that anyone who missed the audio will have that as well. Okay, and thank you all. So I will stop the recording and close the session now. Happy first day of summer.